watch it for 2 minutes. So in Java we can have functions. In any other programming language you can have functions as well. We often call these functions methods. Method's just another name for a function, basically a block of code that does something. A block of code that accomplishes some goal is called a method or a function. Just like f is a function that accomplishes some goal to calculate 3x plus 5 in my example. So anywhere you see the word method, you can think of this kind of as function as well, if that helps you. So I'm supposed to sing the song Happy Birthday to You. And what I want you to think about when you're thinking of the song Happy Birthday is I want you to think of lines where there's repetition. Okay, here's my Happy Birthday rendition. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear person. Happy birthday to you. That's the whole song, right? Do you notice how there's a lot of repetition in that song? Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, have you ever thought about that? How your life is so complicated that you have to keep saying happy birthday to somebody on their birthday? So what lines were exactly the same in happy birthday to you? Happy birthday to you. How many times does that line get mentioned? 3 times. And then there's one line that says happy birthday dear blank. That one's a little bit different, right? Okay, so what if we want to be able to reuse code without rewriting code? That is when we use a method or a function. If we're doing the same thing over and over again, but we don't want to rewrite it every single time, like for example, the bottles of pop thing. You don't want to rewrite bottles of pop every single time. Something like that. A happy birthday song. I don't want to rewrite the same thing over and over again, so I would write a method or a function. So by definition, a method is a collection of statements. You can also think of statements as being lines of code, if that suits your fancy. But a method is a collection of statements grouped together to perform an action. So maybe you have 5 lines put together that calculate the hypotenuse and find the perimeter of a right triangle. You could take all of those lines together and put them inside of a method and say this method calculates the perimeter of a right triangle, something like that. Methods allow you to reuse code without rewriting code. That's the big one for us here. The big reason we want to write methods is we want to be able to reuse our code without being able to rewriting our code. We're talking about organizing our code here. That's the whole point of classes and objects, is to make your coding more organized, essentially. And so that's what we're trying to do. And in the context of happy birthday to you, well, if I'm going to say happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear blank, happy birthday to you, did you know that song was copywritten? Like, that's why when you go to restaurants, they often don't sing the happy birthday song to you. They sing some weird, like Olive Garden has this weird, like, clapping thing, stuff like that. They can't sing happy birthday because it's copywritten. I think maybe recently it fell out of copyright. Just recently. Let's see. Happy birthday to you, copyright. Is it still under copyright? Did you guys know this? Do you know you're stealing? You know you guys are all pirates? According to the 1998 Guinness Book of World Records, is the most recognized song in the English language, followed by For He's a Jolly Good Fellow. Would you agree with that? Happy birthday and For He's a Jolly Good Fellow. Interesting. Copyright status. Is it still under copyright? Okay, I don't want things to go off the rails. Let me get back to where I was here. Okay. Yeah, I don't want things to go off the rails. So, I know. On the CS1 website, they talk about all the reasons that you want to write methods. Writing methods is called procedural abstraction. What do you guys think about that combination of words? I hate it. Thanks, I hate it too. Procedural abstraction just is taking a block of code that does something and giving a name to it so that you can call it over and over again. It's like, you guys ever been to Greenfield Village? No, it's like Henry Ford's assembly line plant, all that stuff. Okay, imagine like you're one of those people at the assembly line. You have a job. Maybe your job all day is all you do is you bend frames and you pass it on to the next person. You take a big block of steel, you bend the frame, you pass it on to the next person. You take a big block of aluminum, you bend it, you pass it on to the next person. Well, you can think of that person that does the same thing over and over again as a method. That's like procedural abstraction. They have one job, they do it very well. We're not going to give that job to anybody else because they do that job already. So we write that into a method, essentially. So procedural abstraction is the idea of taking code that you want to repeat or reuse and just putting it inside of a method. It says this serves to organize our code by function and reduce its complexity and reduce the repetition of code. That's what we already wrote on our note sheet. In addition, it helps with debugging and maintenance, some other reasons too. But basically the big reason for us to write methods is that we want to be able to reuse methods without rewriting them. Some examples of methods that you have used that other people have written. The print statement. You don't know how it works. You know it just does its job and it does its job well. Somebody else wrote the print line. That is a method. Math.pow. You don't know how it works, but you know it works very well. Math.sqrt, square rooting. You know that one works. Here's some other methods. If I do something like str.substring, that's an example of a method. You didn't write substring. Somebody else did, but you know it works very, very well. And so anytime we want to use substring, we can just say substring and use it. And we know it works. We're hoping to write methods that we know work as well, that accomplish a single goal. Substring, what does it do? It takes a copy of the characters. Math.pow, what does it do? It gives you a base to an exponent, etc., etc. So there's many reasons that you want to write your code into methods. Basically, the big one for us is we want to be able to reuse our code without rewriting our code. So it says, let's look at an example with lots of repetition of code and create methods to reduce the repetition of code. Okay, down below here it says, oh, have you guys heard this slapper? It says, this old man, he played knick-knack on my thumb. Have you guys heard this one? Feel free to sing along. With a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone, this old man came rolling home. This old man, he played knick-knack on my shoe. With a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. So it says click on all the lines of code that are completely identical and repeated. Let's see, this old man, he played 1, this old man, he played 2. I don't think so. Mr. Foster. I will send him down, thank you. Bye. Alec, adios. He played knick-knack on my thumb. He played knick-knack on my shoe. These are different. These are different. With a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. Those two are the same. I see it. This old man came rolling home. Those are the same. Would you agree? So instead of rewriting those two lines every single time, we could put those into a method to get rid of some of the repetition there. Anytime you're doing the same thing over and over again, you want to write methods to get rid of some of the repetition. It says, did you find some repeated lines of this old man song? Yeah, I'm pretty smart. You may have noticed that the chorus is repeated with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone, this old man came rolling home. When you see repeated code, this is a signal for you to make a new method. Okay, there are 3 steps to creating and calling a method. Step 1, make an object. We are pretty good at this. I'm actually going to write it down because it's not on my notes though. So I'm going to say let me put this in a different color here, boink, to create and call a method. Step 1, make an object. So as an example of making an object, I could do something like class name, object equals new class name. That's an example of making an object where that last line there in blue, I'm calling the constructor. We've made classes before. We've done this. We did this the other day. So I'm not going to act like that's new for anybody. You've made objects before. But first you have to make an object to call a method. What's next? Step 2 says method call. Whenever you want to use the method, call object name dot method name. So, okay, step 2, call the method. Got it. I can do this. Why is my screen freaking out? Thank you. Step 2, call the method. And the way we call the method is we do the name of the object, dot, name of the method, and any required parameters if there are any. Required params. So for example, if the method requires an integer, you can send it an integer. If the method requires a string, you send it a string. If the method doesn't have anything in the parentheses, then I guess you just wouldn't send it anything at all, and you would just leave the parentheses empty. So to call a method, we do the name of the object dot the name of the method we want to use on that object. We've done that before. I'm not going to act like that's new. And then step 3, you got to define the method. Write the method's header and body. Okay. So that is something we have done before, but really only for constructors, accessors, and mutators. We're going to look at different types of methods today. So write the method's header and body. Write the method's header and body. Okay, we're going to get into what that all looks like here. That's really our big thing today, is writing the method's header and body. You guys have done 1 before many times, creating an object. You've done 2 before many times, calling a method. But then defining a method, writing a new method is something that's going to be maybe a little bit new today. We have created methods before. Let's think. Constructors, those are methods. We've written those, correct? Accessors, those are methods. We've written those, correct? Mutators, the setters, we've written those. ToString, those are methods. We've written all those different types of methods before, but there might be just other methods. So for example, here's a chorus method definition that we could write for the This Old Man song. We could write a method called public void chorus that says, with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone, and prints that out, and then it prints out, this old man came rolling home. Why would that be helpful? Well, now I never have to write those 2 lines of code again. Everywhere you see one of those lines of code, I could just do something like song.chorus. And now it's going to print out those 2 lines of code because I've defined the method. Now, as a quick review of how to write methods, we have filled out something like this before. I want to write it with you again here. The 4 types of a method header, or sometimes called a method signature, also known as a method header. There are 4 parts to it. It always looks like this: access, return data type, method name, and then a list of parameters. So, access control. Sometimes this is referred to as visibility as well. There's a lot of different vocabulary when we're dealing with computer science. Access control might also be called visibility. A method can be public, or it can be private. Public allows access outside the class. Like, didn't we do something yesterday where we had a tester class and we were writing the code in the tester class to make the objects and call the methods? Yeah, we did something like that. While private only allows access inside the class. I will say for our methods, like 99% of the time, we're going to be making them public. So I would not worry too much about private. The only things we really make private are instance variables, but that's different than what we're talking about today. Today we're just talking about methods. So we want to make them public most of the time. So that's this part, access control or visibility. Next, this part, return data type. A method may return a value. In the case that the method does return a value, the returned data type part of the method signature tells us what type of variable or value will be returned. Some methods may not return anything. What if the method doesn't return anything? What do we write for the return type? Void, very good. In this case, the return type would be void. For example, that chorus method. This chorus method here was public and void. All right, next part of the method signature, the method header. This part over here, oh, I don't want to use that color. Give me a different color. Hit me up with green. There we go. The method name. A method can be named anything you want, just like a variable. However, the method name should be suggestive of the actions the method performs, does, whatever. You know, if a method is figuring out half the length of a string, don't call that method B. Call that half length or something like that. Let's think about all the string methods. Let's think of some of the good names in the string class. Substring, it takes a string and gives you a subsection of it. Length, it gives you the length of a string. Index of, it finds the index of a character. Two uppercase, gosh, I wonder what that one does. Two lowercase, man, mystifying. You want to name your method something that's very illustrative of the actions your method performs or does. Conventionally, methods start with a lowercase letter, and method names with more than one word should be, anybody remember what that's called? Camel case. You guys are sharp. There it is. Camel case. So every other word starts with a capital letter. Now in their example, they wrote their method called chorus. I wonder what that does. Probably gives me the chorus. Actually, what I would do is I probably would call this method print chorus because it's printing the chorus. But that's just me, not to be critical. And then lastly, we've got a list of parameters. We're going to spend plenty of time talking about this today, but the variables defined in the method signature are parameters. A parameter is like a placeholder, is how you can think of a parameter. When you put something in the parentheses, you're saying this method expects this to do its job. When a method is called or invoked, you pass a value to the parameter. Also, parameters are optional, but the method signature must still have parentheses whether there are parameters or not. So your method might not need any inside or outside information to do its job. For example, the length method. When you call length on a string, what do you put in the parentheses? Nothing. So maybe I'll write this down for you guys just as some examples. str.length. This one has no parameters because there's nothing in the parentheses. What about something like str.substring? What do you think the parameters are for the substring method? What's their type? Int. And how many of them are there? 2 ints. 2 integers for parameters here. You might have methods that require other things. Index of, for example. Does anybody remember what you passed index of? You pass index of a single string. Say, look for this string. Where's its index? Inside of another string. Something like that. So you can have as many different parameters as you want to, but it's basically outside information that the method needs to do its job. So back here, we've got a method. Public, that's its access or visibility. Means I can call it from outside of the class. Void means the method gives me nothing back. And it looks like from the body of this method, that's okay that it's void because it's just printing stuff. The name of this method is chorus. That's a pretty good name for a method that prints out a chorus. The only thing I might do differently is call it print chorus since it's printing it. And then it looks like this method requires no parameters, no outside information to do its job, which makes sense because it just always prints the same thing no matter what. It says, run the following code to see the song This Old Man print out. Can you change the last 2 lines in the second verse to call the chorus method instead? So let's look at it. We've got a class song. There's a method called chorus. Okay, in the main method, let's see if they follow the steps. Step 1, they create an object. Step 2, they call the method on that object. And step 3, they wrote the method. I think they did it. Okay. It says, this old man, he played knick-knack on my thumb. And then it just says, mysong.chorus. What's that going to do? Well, it's going to go find the chorus method. And the chorus method will print out with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. Strange song. But essentially, wherever we see mysong.chorus, this program knows to go to chorus and it's like substitution. Oh my gosh. Not to trigger anybody. But do you guys remember learning about solving a system of equations using substitution? Okay, you're learning it right now? Nice. Well, not from me, though. Somebody else? Cool. So substitution, you take a value and you plug it in for something else. That's for a variable. That's kind of like what's going on with these methods. When I say mysong.chorus, it goes and calls the chorus method. And the chorus method is basically substituted in. Any lines of code inside of chorus essentially gets substituted in wherever we call chorus. So mysong.chorus is replaced with these 2 lines of code. It's like substitution. Does that make sense? Plug and chug? Anybody hear me? Oh, thank God. Okay. Oh, I thought I was just a ghost haunting this room. All right, we need a 2-minute break. Go take your 2-minute break. Go stretch your legs. Do something. Go stretch your legs. Yeah, 2-minute break. Go. Okay. Let's continue. So we were supposed to finish this activity. I didn't give us the opportunity to do it. Right now, we've got this old man. He played 1. He played knick-knack on my thumb. And then they do mysong.chorus. So it says, with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone, this old man came rolling home. Down here on lines 20 and 21 in activity 2, it says, can you replace these 2 lines with a method called a chorus? I bet we can do it. Anybody feeling brave that they can give me the line of code that needs to go here so we don't print those again? Cordelia, you're feeling brave? My song, the name of the object, .chorus, the name of the method, and then no parameters as required. Cordelia, that was beautifully said. Thank you. And boom, now we say this old man, he played 1, he played knick-knack on my thumb with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. This old man, he played 2, he played knick-knack on my shoe with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. And basically anywhere you call my song, or whatever the name of your object is, .chorus, it'll be replaced with those 2 lines. And obviously you could add to your method if you wanted to. You could add something like, You could add whatever you wanted to the method. If you wanted to modernize the song or something like that, now it's this old man came rolling home, Versace, Versace. And then you can add whatever you want to the method. As long as you call the method, it's going to perform the actions that are inside the body of your code. Okay. So these are methods without parameters. They always operate the same way. They don't need any outside information to do their job. What other kinds of methods are there? Well, do you see anything that's still being repeated here? Look at these lines of code compared to these 2 lines of code. Okay, let's just look at one line at a time because this seems a little challenging here. Let's do this line and this line. How much of it is being repeated? This old man, he played something. This old man, he played something. Some number goes in there. And then let's look at the next line right after it. He played knick-knack on my thumb. He played knick-knack on my shoe. Who is this old man that's just okay. So he played knick-knack on my blank. He played knick-knack on my... Sounds terrible when I say blank, but he played knick-knack on my something. Let's say that. I know. You guys are already, doing the Hornet hotline. Nobody's going to knick-knack your anything. I just want to... If somebody does knick-knack your something, you come to me and let me know, okay? And we'll take care of it. Okay. So anyways, these 2 are the same, basically the same thing, except we say this old man, he played number. He played knick-knack on my something. Careful. Be very careful. So the question is, what can we be better? Can we make it even more efficient? We've got the 2 lines, the chorus. Can we then go ahead and make this into a method? Well, we can, but it's a little bit different than the chorus. Because the chorus always says, this old man went rolling home or whatever. It's going to say that no matter what verse it is. But for these 2 lines, it's going to change from verse to verse. It's going to be like, this old man, he played number, he played knick-knack on my something. And so we want to take those 2 parameters, we want to take those 2 things, those blanks, the number and something, and figure out a way to write a method so that we can input that number and something without printing it out over and over again. Hopefully MLive is not here recording this lesson. Okay. Don't email MLive, please. So, it says, you may have noticed more repetition in the song above. What about the lines of each verse? Notice that every word is repeated except the last ones that include a number and a rhyme, such as one thumb and two shoe. What do you think 3 is? 3, he plays knick-knack on my tree? Feet on my feet? This old man is like, seriously, dude, call the police on this old man. He is a danger to the neighborhood. So we can go ahead and take the one thumb, two shoe, the rhyming number in the rhyme part, and hopefully parameterize it. We can make methods even more powerful and more abstract by giving them parameters for data that they need to do their job. To do the job of this method down here, we say this old man, he played number, he played knick-knack on my rhyme. And then we can put in whatever we want to. If I want to do the first verse, I could do something like my song.verse, and I could say one is thumb, because those words rhyme, apparently. If I wanted to do the other one, I could say my song.verse 2 and shoe. If I wanted to do the third verse, I could say my song.verse 3 and what did we say, feet? I don't, knee. Oh, on my knee. Thank you. So I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Okay, so if I call any of these, now I've got these placeholders here. And so when I say my song.verse 1, this number 1 will be passed in for number. Basically, this is saying number is 1. And so when I print it out, it's going to say this old man, he played 1. And then this will be sent in for rhyme. So it'll say, he played knick-knack on my thumb. Or for the next one, this old man, he played 2. He played knick-knack on my shoe. For the third verse, this old man, he played 3. He played knick-knack on my knee. And so on and so forth. So it says we can make methods even more powerful and more abstract by giving them parameters for data they need to do their job. We can make a method called verse that takes the number and rhyme to print out any verse. It says run the following code to see the song This Old Man print out using the verse and chorus methods. You can also see this code. Okay, we don't need to do that. Can you add verse 3 with the rhyme knee? Okay, it is knee. Can you add verse 4 with the rhyme door? How many verses do you know? I'm scared. So the methods, verse is the one that now has parameters. It says the first one represents the number. So we say this old man, he played, and we add on whatever the number is. He played knick-knack on my, and we add on whatever the rhyme is. So when we call it, it says make a new song. That's number 1, make an object. Number 2, we made the methods up, or excuse me, we call the methods down here. Number 3, we've defined the methods up above. So now it's my song.verse 1 and thumb, my song.chorus. Look at this. Look how many print statements there are. Not a single print statement. How much repetition is there? Barely any. There is a little bit of repetition, but barely any. And so now we've taken this song and, hey Trevor, looking fresh. We've taken this song and we've gone ahead and we've condensed it down by using methods. So if I were to run it right now, it says this old man, he played 1, he played knick-knack on my thumb. Where are those 2 lines coming from? Which method? Where do these 2 lines come from? Verse. And then where do these 2 lines come from? Chorus. And so this old man, he played number, he played knick-knack on my rhyme with a knick-knack paddywhack. This is the chorus. This old man came rolling home. And then it goes, this old man, he played 2. Let's do the next verse. If I want to do the next verse, I'm going to say my song.verse, and we said it's 3 and knee. And then I need to say the chorus. Well, here, before I call the chorus method, let's see if that works properly. This old man, he played number, he played knick-knack on my rhyme, and then I go ahead and do the chorus. If I want to do the next verse, verse 4 is my door. The song is kind of progressively gets like a little bit creepier. This old man, he added me on social media and liked my pictures. What? Yes. Yes. Sorry. I know, sorry. Should not go there. Let's see. Trevor, I see you, I think. Okay. What do you think? Let's make up verse 5 for a second. What are we thinking? This old man, he played 5. He played knick-knack on my thighs. Why not? I mean, it's a very innocent song. I don't see. He's just playing knick-knack. Give him a break. What, old man can't play knick-knack on your thighs? You've never... Hey, Shani, can I play? Yes, please seek. Okay, let's do verse 6. This old man, he played 6. He played knick-knack on... Hey, now. Hey, careful. Careful. I actually want to look it up because I'm scared. This old man song. This old man song. Is it on Genius Lyrics? No, okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. Knick-knack on my hive? Okay. He played knick-knack up in heaven? I got shot by the police. He played knick-knack on my spine? No. No. Kurt Farquhar, shame on you, sir. What? Say what? I don't know. Well, let's find out. What is knick-knacking about? Game. A knick-knack is a trinket. Knick-knack male practice of tapping out a rhythm. So he's like tapping on you? With spoons. So you're just like alone with an old man and some spoons. It's just like time to go to town. Alright. Don't do any of this. Don't do any of this. And please don't send any of this to MLive. Okay. Where are we at here? I'm done with this song big time. Okay. So, alright. This is important. It says, when you create your own method, the variables you define for it in the method header are called formal parameters. When you call the method to do its job, you give or pass in arguments or actual parameters. So, on the back of your note sheet, I think I have this kind of written down here. So it's kind of confusing, but I want to make sure we get the vocabulary. So let's say you have some method that looks like, I don't know, this. Let's say it's for a rectangle class. Public void, set length, and the set length method requires an int representing the length of something. And then, I don't know, the method does something, ... Int L, in this case, is called a parameter, or what you might see referred to also as a formal parameter. I like to think of it as a placeholder. It means this method needs this thing to do its job. In the example of the knick-knack song, by the way, $1 million idea. Competitor to TikTok, call it knick-knack, and all you do is make short 10-second videos of you playing the knick-knack game. $1 million idea. Make sure you're 18 and over. All right. Formal parameters. So basically, this is what you need to do the stuff. For the knick-knack song, the verse, we needed the number and the rhyme. For this method, we need an integer L. What is that integer L? I don't know. It's like a placeholder. Sometimes called a formal parameter. Then when we go ahead and call the method, we do something like, I don't know, rectangle dot set length, and then we pass in some actual number. This thing right here is called an argument, which are the values you pass into a method when calling it. So if I call set length like this number 3 will be passed in for L, essentially. Sometimes arguments are called actual parameters. So essentially, when you're writing the method header, or the method signature, You write your parameter. You say this method needs this thing to do its job. It needs an integer L or whatever. And then the arguments are the values you actually pass in for the parameters when you do the calling of the method. So if I go back, let's use the knick-knack thing for an example here. Is this a parameter or an argument? Parameter. Is this a parameter or an argument? Parameter. It's saying that this method needs a string for the number and a string for the rhyme to do its job. Now, when I go ahead and call verse, is this a parameter or an argument? Argument. I'm passing in 1 for the number. Is this a parameter or an argument? Argument. I'm passing in thumb for the rhyme. So when you call the method, you're passing in actual values. When you're writing the method header, you're just saying, hey, this method needs this thing to do its job. And you'll notice inside of the method body for any of these that you just refer to the parameter by its variable name. Because I don't know what number is going to be. Actually, number is going to change depending on when you're calling it. So this old man, he played, I don't know, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, or 10. I don't know what they're going to pass in, so I use the variable inside the method. I don't use the actual parameter. I use the formal parameter inside the method as a variable. So, moving along. Here's some examples down below. It says when a method is called, the right method definition is found by checking the header at the top of the method definition to match the method name, the number of arguments, the data types for the arguments, and the return type. So if we say mysong.verse string string, Java's going to go look for a method that is called verse that accepts a string and a string. Oh, here's one. And then it's going to take 1, pass it in for number because that comes first, take thumb, pass it in for rhyme because that comes second. So now it's going to behave like this old man, he played 1, he played knick-knack on my thumb. And same thing here. This stuff down here about call by value does not apply to us, so I'm just going to keep scrolling. Let's see. Returns a Boolean, give letter and text new values. We don't need to do that. Here's what I wanted to get to. Okay. Here's another song. This is I don't know if you know, a lot of kids' songs have repetition. Why? To make you smarter, I guess, to make your brain have more capacity. This is a song called The Ants Go Marching. Have you guys heard this song before? Do I need to play it, or you guys have heard it? You want me to sing it? That's, no, you don't want me to sing it. Hold up. Okay, I need to pause any videos so it doesn't scam me. Hold on, let's see here. No, yes. Ants Go Marching. What? Okay, give me a YouTube. Hit me up with YouTube, please. Ants Go Marching. Oh, baby. I can't watch it, though. We're just going to have to listen. Otherwise, it's going to screw up Vayon. So let's just listen here. Let's just listen. We can read along, too. It's a really lit video. Sorry that I can't play it for you. It takes a minute to get started, yeah. The ants are marching right now, you can see. They're marching.
The ants go marching one by one.
Hurrah! Hurrah!
The ants go marching one by one.
Hurrah! Hurrah!
The ants go marching one by one. The little one stops to suck his thumb. They all go marching down.
Probably just got knick-knacked.
Get out of the rain. Boom, 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 boom. The ants go marching two by two.
Hurrah! Hurrah!
The ants go marching two by two.
Hurrah! Hurrah!
The ants go marching two by two. The little one stops to tie his shoe, and they all go marching down to the ground to get out of the rain.
What do you think? One more verse? We do one more verse? Let's hear it.
The ants go marching three by three. Hurrah!
Hurrah!
The ants go marching three by three.
Hurrah! Hurrah!
The ants go marching three by three. The little one stops to climb a tree, and they all go marching down to the ground to get out of the rain. The ants go marching.
We get the idea. We get the idea. We get the idea. What? Okay, gotcha. Yeah, you never know. Okay, so that's the ants go marching. It says in the active code. So first of all, do we see any repetition going on here? Just tons. Let's see here. The ants go marching. The ants go marching. The ants go marching. Okay, so every verse has that. Now this number is going to be different. It's either 1 by 1 or 2 by 2 or 3 by 3. But let's see. The rest of this line is the same. By, and then hurrah, hurrah is all the same. Hurrah, 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 hurrah. Okay, so the first line's all the same except for the number. Then it says the same thing. Hurrah, hurrah, the ants go marching 1 by 1. Okay, let's look at this line down here. The little one stops too. The little one stops too. The little one stops too. But then what he's doing is different. He's either sucking his thumb, or he's tying his shoe, or he's climbing a tree. Then the rest of that line is the same, and it says, and then they all go marching down. This line is the same for everybody. This line's the same for everybody. This line's the same for everybody. So, using the verse thing that we looked at before as an example, do you think we could turn this into a method and get rid of some of the repetition? Absolutely, and that's what we're going to do here. So, it says down here, you know, if you want to open up this in another tab, you can. I'll do it. I'll bite. It says in the active code window below, create a method or methods that takes parameters to print out a verse. The method should be abstract enough to work for all 3 verses. Okay. Right. What, do you guys want to make like a verse? Do we want to make 2 methods or just 1 method that does everything? Because I'm thinking the ants go marching blank by blank, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching blank by blank, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching blank by blank. The little one stops to blank, blank, blank. And they all go or this is the little one stops to blank his something. But then it's climb a tree. So it's really this whole verse here. Okay, I think we can do it in 1 method. Alright, let's do this thing. Let's make it public. Let's make it void. Should we call this verse? Chorus, verse? Verse, okay. Verse. Now, what information do we need? What information do we need to write a verse? We said that these are different. Why is it moving? Stop. What is the definition of 1? Thank you, I know it. Yeah, aren't those... Can you please not? Okay. They're numbers. So we need numbers. And it looks like not just an integer for the number because they're printed out as the whole thing. So I'm going to say something like string number. And then... what's the other thing that's different from verse to verse? Little one stops to climb a tree. Little one stops to tie his shoe. Little one stops to suck his thumb. What do we want to call, basically, we need to come up with a name for whatever this is happening here. The rhyme? The action? The rhyme? The action? What do you want? I like rhyme too, but it looks like people are saying action, so we'll go with action. Alright, now let's think about it. How does the verse go? It goes, the ants go marching. Okay. The ants go marching. What goes next? The ants go marching. Number, whatever our number is. Number. I know, it's such a slapping song. By number. Now, don't think it's going to say the actual number. This is the parameter, the formal parameter. We're going to send an argument in to take the spot of number. This is just a blank, a placeholder. The ants go marching number by number. And then it's what? Hurrah, hurrah on its own line. Oh, is hurrah, hurrah on the same line? Oh my gosh, okay, whoopsie doozies. Okay, sorry about that. I was trying to make it so I could fit it all one, okay. Hurrah, hurrah. I don't know if there's a comma there, it doesn't really matter. So now it says the ants go marching number by number, hurrah, hurrah. And then, isn't the next line the exact same? It is, I'll give you a hint, it is. The ants go marching number by number, hurrah, hurrah. And then it's the same thing again. The ants go marching number by number, but then it doesn't say hurrah, hurrah. So I'm just going to delete the hurrah, hurrah part. Does that seem right so far? The ants go marching number by number, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching number by number, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching number by number. What's next? The little one stops to something. The little one stops to action. The little one stops to suck his thumb. The little one stops to do something else. The little one stops. Why does he keep stopping? The little one stops. He's got different reasons to stop, and so on and so forth. It's just a parameter. It's a placeholder. And they all go marching. That's the last thing. And they all go marching down to the ground to get out of the rain. I don't know, there's like a boom, boom, boom part, but whatever, that's kids stuff. The ants go marching number by number, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching number by number, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching number by number, the little one stops to do an action, and they all go marching down to the ground to get out of the rain. I don't do it for the applause, that's okay. Let's go ahead and I guess the last thing we need to do is create an object and call the method. Let's do it. Create a song object. Song ants equals new song. That's step one. Make the object. Next step, call the method ants.verse. And if I want to do the first verse, it's one and suck his thumb. Did I write perfect code? Of course we did. The ants go marching one by... Oh, sorry, you need that last line there. The ants go marching... The ants go marching argument by argument. Hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching argument passed to number, argument passed by number. Hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching, argument passed to number by argument passed to number. The little one stops to do an action, suck his thumb. And they all go marching down to the ground to get out of the rain. And if you want to see the power of this, you just go ahead and do another verse. 2, tie his shoe. 3, 3, eat a seed? I have no idea what it is. Look at that. Now, look at that. 3 lines of code to print out all of that business. That's methods, baby. Being able to reuse code without rewriting code. That is what is up. That is what we are doing. How are we feeling? Say what? You don't feel? Looking at his bloody nose? He's allergic to the song. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like, oh, you want to, I know it's a real slapper. All right. Take one. Take one. I know, it's such lengthy homework that I give you guys. Dude, oh, jeez. Oh, my gosh. What? All right. This is what it looks like. It is one-sided. right. Really quick before you go, I just want to it's all about vocabulary in this first section. If you've missed any of the vocabulary, you can go back and do the reading and all that stuff. Method header, that's the first line of the method. Method call is actually calling the method, object.method. Arguments, these are the things that are passed in for the parameters. Formal parameters, these are the things that are in parentheses as placeholders. Object name, that's, whatever, object.method or something like that. Method name, when you do object.method, it's the second part. You're filling in these blanks with the matching letter. And then essentially it's all about parameters and methods names. I think this will maybe take you 5 to 10 minutes. Max. 5 to 10 minutes max. Make sure you have one before you go. Make sure you have one before you go. I think maybe 5 to 10 minutes on this one. It's all about vocabulary.